Hey guys, Preston here. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing my review slash reaction to UFC 225. Obviously, this isn't a live reaction of me watching it. This is me right after it's done. Well, right after that's done and the after show. It is 2:30 a.m. where I'm at right now. Either way, we're going to go through the main card only, give obviously the results, some stats, and then my opinion. Like, was the decision right? Was it wrong? How'd that fighter look, etc. So we'll start with the first fight on the main card, which obviously could have been a Fight Pass prelim fight, and that was Mike Jackson versus CM Punk. I know why they put it on the main card because I thought CM Punk would sell, and it's his hometown, but he looked bad. It's the only way to say it. He looked a bit better than his first fight, and he did get it. It did go to a decision, but it only because Mike Jackson wanted it to, and he was messing with him. And I mean, Mike Jackson's not even that experienced either. He's 0-1. They both lost to the same guy. But Mike Jackson literally just messed around with this dude for 3 rounds. He had him ground and pound, and he wasn't even looking at him when he was throwing those punches. If he wanted him out, he could have been knocked out second round easy. He didn't. He toyed with him. And this is the sign CM Punk should not fight UFC. This dude needs to go. He needs to do amateur fights. He needs to work his way up like everyone else did. Especially since he had no experience. Like, it'd be different if, like, before he went into wrestling, he had a huge background in jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai, or even wrestling makes most sense. But this man has no experience. I'm not even sure he has, like, high school wrestling at the most, you know? So it was pretty bad. Just real quick, some percentages. Mike Jackson had 73% of his total strike percentage was 73%. His significant strike percentage was 59%. And neither of them tried any submissions. But Mike Jackson, basically, he got in the clinch up top and just pummeled him till it was over. It was really disappointing, to say the least. But, you know, CM Punk was in the card. The weakest fight of the entire card, I must say. Next one, we have Tuivasa, whatever, versus Andrei Arlovski. And Andrei gave one hell of a fight, man. It was insane. I definitely expected less from him. Oh yeah, we'll go through the reaction. I was wrong about my pick for CM Punk. Granted, I got that pick right. I said I wanted Punk to win, but I thought Mike Jackson would. So I got that correct. So that's 1-0 for me, if you watched the video before this one, which was me predicting it. Then we have this one, which I also got right, but actually watching the fight, I felt like it could have gone either way, and it was a decision for Ty, which I'm fine with. I think, honestly, like I said, it could have gone either way, but Andre gave a really amazing performance. It was a great fight. A lot of punches being thrown. It was Tuivasi's first real test, as all of his other fights never got past the first round because he was dropping people. So it's a good learning experience for him. It showed Andre still has it. It was a very entertaining fight. Honestly, that's one they could do again, and it'd be amazing. Quick stats. Tuivasa led in every percentage on everything, you know, but really close. It's 4% difference for strikes, is according to this. And so now he goes to 9-0, I believe. And it'll be interesting to see who they put him against next, because he's one of those rising stars. Makes sense to promote him. So that was that. Next up, we have the women's featherweight fight. Oh, I got that one right. So 2-0. Now we have the women's featherweight fight, which I also got right. So now my pick's 3-0. This was Holly Holm versus Megan Anderson, and holy crap! If it was ever seen a dominant display in my life, this is one of them. Holly Holm ran that fight, and it shows she's on a completely different level than this girl. And Holly Holm is one of the elite female fighters in the UFC. Honestly, I think it'll be interesting to see her fight again. And I think she said after her win, she wants to get that bantamweight belt back. So I think her versus Amanda would be great to watch again. Also, she could go against Cyborg again, which would be interesting because Holm no one thought Holm was gonna win against Cyborg. I didn't, and watching it, she clearly didn't, but she did last 5 rounds against Cyborg, which is impressive all its own. This one was basically a tale of experience versus pure athleticism or built, you know, because this girl she faced, Megan Anderson, is huge. She's a giant, bro. She's taller than me. She's like 6 foot something, very lengthy, and so I'm pretty sure she relies on her strength and dominance to win most of her fights. It was also her first fight in the UFC, so they didn't really exactly throw her a bone here. They gave her a tough challenge, and Holm really proved herself and used it to show how much of a fighter, how skilled of a fighter she really is. So all I have to say is it was a very impressive performance. She got one good Megan got one good hit on her before she decided just to run it. And there's a lot of ground and pound and dominant ground control from Holly Holm, which is something you don't normally see considering the fact that she has like a boxing slash kickboxing background. Next up is the co-main event, which was debatably, no, not debatably, it was the second most boring fight on the entire card. Honestly, CM Punk's might have been a tad bit more entertaining just because it was fun, but this fight was, in simplest terms, terribly boring to me, honestly. I mean, there was skill obviously involved, and it really showed how good Colby Covington actually is. He backed up his trash talk, and he won. Granted, he was saying second round knockout and talked a lot of crap that way. It did do a 5-round decision, and it was one of those very boring, you can tell it's a wrestler style fight. When I love wrestlers, it's awesome, and I mean, most of them are Americans when you have that wrestling background, but holy crap, they really know how to slow down and fight and make an audience go silent. So if you want to win, it was the smart move, obviously, but not getting a lot of fans there, but Colby never wanted to. So basically how it went was he knew RDA's plan would be to counterpunch, take his time, get some good shots, and so Colby just attacked him constantly. From the start of it, he got a good hit in, but then most of the time was spent in the clinch with Colby holding Rafael against the cage. That's all it was clinching. It was this, they'd get in it, Colby would come at him, RDA would instantly just walk straight back into the cage, Colby would clinch, get out, rinse and repeat for 5 rounds. There was one round RDA won, and it was impressive, and he did the same thing that Colby was doing to him, but by then he was already out of gas and morally defeated. Really showed that RDA did get some good hits in, which if Colby can't let those hits get in against Woodley, because Woodley has stopping power, if you haven't seen it, he does for sure, so that's some stuff you'll have to clean up, but he could do it against RDA since he's a weaker guy moving up. This was the first fight I did get incorrect, so I'm 4-1, 3-1 on this card. But either way, I mean, RDA had the higher striking percentage and significant strike percentage, but Colby just held on to him the whole time and won just based off, just being on top and being aggressive the whole time. If you want to call it aggressive, he was in the face. He smothered him. There wasn't a lot of action going on there, but he was just holding on to him, really spread it out, tired him out, pretty boring. And now the fight that made it all worth it. It's a shame it wasn't for a title, because that would have made it even better, but this is so far the fight of the year I've seen so far, and there's a chance it could stay that way, and that was Robert Whittaker versus Yoel Romero 2. And I mean, holy crap, that was amazing. Went to 5 rounds decision again, but this time it was split because of how close it was. Yoel Romero surprised everyone by barely shooting for takedowns. Last time he did 18, he didn't throw a single takedown till round 4 or 5. And this one has some controversy here. If we go through this, Yoel Romero has his stance. He has 2 knockdowns, 0 from Whittaker. He has 52% of the total strike compared to Whittaker's 39, and 46 compared to 39 for significant strikes. And he had takedowns, which Robert didn't, but they gave it to Robert Whittaker. And how I'd score it would be the first 3 rounds were Robert's. 4 was definitely Yoel's. No, yeah, 1 and 2 was Robert's for sure. 3 was Yoel's, I believe. 4 was Robert's, and then 5 was definitely Yoel's. And the problem was you're supposed to give 8-2 rounds when you see something that dominant, And Yoel, I think, just for example, that last round dropped him, and then took him down 4 times in a row. The only thing that Robert Whittaker was doing in that round was trying not to die, and somehow even then it's not an 8-10 round somehow, and that's the only reason Whittaker won at all. It should have been a draw at the very least, and even the commentators on the card said it after the fights. They were like, this was ridiculous. There's plenty. Joe Rogan's been calling to change the judge system for a while, at least adding more, he said. So I'd like to agree that they did get this one wrong, and honestly I think some of it might be on the promotional side to avoid the crap show that would have happened if Yoel won, because obviously Yoel missed it by 0.2 pounds, which is his fault. He did come in heavy, but it's also the fact that the commission stopped him from cutting, which is crap. And if he was another one like Vegas, they said there's a chance they would have let him cut, and even then it would have been more interesting, because I feel like if it was for a belt, I think there might have been a better chance Yoel would have won it, because they wouldn't be thinking, if Whittaker doesn't win this, you have a DC situation all over again where everyone knows DC's great, but then there's that shadow hanging over you because, oh, Whitaker still got the belt, even though Yoel Romero just beat him. And then what do you do there? You know? It's just crazy. So now it's crazy close. It's a split decision, and honestly, the UFC could not go wrong with a trilogy. It should be a trilogy because to a lot of people, y'all won that one. Either way, split decision. At worst, it should have been a draw. That's the worst decision on this card, and it's so almost ruined the fight for him. I mean, most people when that fight started were rooting for Robert Whitaker, and when it ended, they booed the decision because they just thought it was wrong. You know, it should have at least been a draw, which you don't see me calling for draws that often because, you don't want that. But that fight was very worthy of that. They fought their hearts out. Robert Whitaker got injured again, which means there's going to be a long layout for another fight for him, which is insane. But man, Yoel was crazy. He played conservative and just launched when he needed to, and he dropped Whitaker twice. But his body weight and that heavy weight cut that he had to do where he got stopped 0.2 ounces short, that murdered him too. And I'm sure that didn't help his stamina because both of those knockdowns, if it was anyone else, if he had the stamina he did when he first started, he could have finished him. There's a lot of times you see where the person gets knocked down like that and the other fighter smothers him and goes at it. And Yoel had him down. He just could not do it. He was out of gas. And credit to Whitaker, though, obviously. He's a heck of a fighter, and he never even had to take this fight. He could have said no, but he's like, I'll take it, and I'll prove it. And he did a good job, but Yoel definitely won that, in my opinion. At least a draw, like I said. Let me know if you watched it, what do you think of that fight, because I've seen mixed reactions, but most of what I've seen through just comment sections on UFC's Instagram page and all their pages announcing Whitaker won, and the commentators themselves, is that Yoel won that fight, at the very least a draw. So I think that too, and I think it's pretty convenient that they gave it to Whitaker, and it avoids a whole fiasco with Yoel winning and not getting a belt, and Whitaker getting to keep the belt even though he lost. But, I mean, you can't deny that was a crazy good fight and definitely worth the money. I will be doing this for 226 also, because that card's it might be even more stacked. So stay tuned for my videos on that. Let me know what you thought of this card, because honestly, really good. One of the best cards it's been in a while. Mainly just carried by that Whitaker Romero fight. So I keep looking down, that's where I have the fight card pulled up. The main event really carried it, because the Covington one was kind of disappointing, honestly. Wasn't a lot of action, more talk than action. Kobe did win when she said he would, but definitely not even close to a second round KO. More just a smother, man. He's like a leech at one-off points. So hopefully him versus Woodley won't be a snooze fest. Hopefully two wrestlers can figure it out and they won't be able to hold each other down forever. All these fights should be interesting. I mean, it was a great card, honestly, just a really good card, and they did Chicago justice. So, yeah, comment your opinions below if you want to debate me on anything or just how you felt about the fights overall, if you score anything differently. This is K-Man Preston signing out. See you guys later.